Yeah, it's looking really exciting in this group in particular. Like our first set is going to be Martini versus the Joker, which has yours truly, OP rights here, as already guaranteed to advance in the first seed. But the second place seed to advance is not determined yet, and it's looking pretty close among these players, like so far. So this match is basically determining which
Yeah,
one it's going to be.
yeah. This one will do it because Martini doesn't have a win yet. The Joker does. So Martini is currently loss. The Joker's currently win loss. But the thing is, if Martini wins, even by the slimmest of margins, that is enough points to get 15 points. And the other two players in Martini's group, Quick Lime and the Joker, despite also both having wins, if Martini wins this, that's going to be enough to put them through on game number of game wins because Martini performed particularly well against me. Actually, got I think two more wins than the Joker did, three more wins than
Right? Yeah,
Quicklime.
yeah, yeah.
So it was a nice showing by Martini, and it's gonna pave their way into the group stage if they can win this set. The Joker has a simpler way in. Actually, the Joker just needs a draw. If the Joker takes a draw, that is just going to be enough for them to move on into bracket stage.
Yeah, it's a super close group. Like every single game here will matter, which is fun to see. As you said, like the Joker just needs the draw, and he's golden. That's kind of a nice position for him to be in coming into the set, just not having that knowledge, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know about you, Lazy Bear, but I am ready to get started. I have the Joker on the spy side of library as Bling.
Already.
All right, in three, two, one, playing it. And these, of course, are all the same venues every single time for every single match. That is the Summer Cup tradition. Everyone plays the same set of matches in the groups. Then there are two separate sets of venues for the bracket stage, and then finals is going to be its own format of around the world with some bands. A very nice long set for that one.
Yeah. What is our plan? We just got our first flirt in. That's really nice. We opted to not do the Chaos Time ad. I think would be powerful.
Yeah, I mean, Chaos Time, that's pretty good, I think. A lot of the time, if you're going to get away with the time ad, that's pretty much universally always going to be good.
Yeah, for
The only downside for time ads is if you're giving away lowlights or if you're getting shot for it or highlight for it, which doesn't happen very often. I think like despite how much it gets memed about sometimes, time ads are really just really good. And I like this actually book takeout because here comes a time ad itself. Wow, we leave that window really quick. Oh yeah,
Oh,
look at that
yeah.
highlight.
We did not want to be seen, but we were for sure.
Yeah,
We hit the instant green though, split into yellow. This is very bold.
yeah, I'm not sure I'm happy with that decision to time out there. I really like the book takeout in from blue earlier because ambassador until we go on the other side of the venue.
Yeah.
And so you have a pretty good chance of getting away with that if you're not attracting attention otherwise. And you really don't need the time ad. It would have been nice to have, but making that sort of a risky play, especially with Ambo and Toby around, not really worth it at this point.
Well, it's arguably like the best time ad venue in the game, maybe, but the positioning still matters a lot. And I feel like that window pad location, especially with a lot of heat on that side of the venue, really gives us kind of a rough chance of not being caught for that.
Well, yeah, and I want to like imagine a scenario where we didn't do that time ad, we didn't pick up that highlight, and instead we've got 2:45 left on the clock, and we just go to center statues now.
Yeah.
Center statues, inspect, swap, and we're done with missions. I think that would be really, really strong for the Joker, but instead we seem to be a pretty big suspect.
I saw that we were stuttering closer and closer here. We're setting up for unbelieving, probably having the bug option prepped to go.
Yeah, but Taft walks so quickly that you really can't make that bug work unless you walk alongside him, and then at that point your arm's facing towards the sniper, so you're not likely to really get away with that.
Yeah, yeah, you have to react real quick here to get this to hit. The path is going to work most of the time. They're going to go, into us here, but
Yeah,
the
but
Joker needs to be real quick
you have
hitting
to.
this.
You really have to start it before they leave. Is a thing. It's because it's Taft. It's so speedy. Even like a
Yeah,
slower ambassador. I think only like if you had like Sorry or Pearls as your ambassador could that land without you needing to start it before they leave, right? But yeah, this is exactly what I mean. You have to leave the conversation with the ambassador, but at that point your arm is going to be going towards the laser because you start the bug with the arm facing away from the laser, of course, but then you turn around and then it doesn't land, it gets seen, and the Joker takes the bullet from Martini, who goes up in the set 1-0 on library. Of course, it's library and spy games are hard to come by, but we'll see how this continues.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a very good spy game, all considering we had very good pacing. I'm not sure we needed the timeout with the pacing that we had, but it was a nice try. Something I do when I try to get those bugs is I look at ambassadors idle or if they're going to be interrupted, and then you can kind of react faster to that bug prompt, and kind of prep yourself mentally for when he's going to leave. But still, I thought that spy game was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that timeout made it a little bit too big of a suspect, I think. But next, we'll be going to see Martini on the spy side of library and see if it can do something that the Joker could not, and find that spy who wants to take a lead. We'll get going in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Taking an early rest at the convoy here, looking where our ST is. Smallman ST, bold choice. I like it.
Summon ST, I mean, it might just be random, of course, but it's something that you see sometimes when you want to frame Smallman specifically, or want to keep him in a party as general, not in general, not as general. Smallman cannot be general. Only general is general.
Indeed, he is. Yeah.
That beautiful, beautiful walking bug.
How do you feel about microfilm animation from Green? And what's your general thought of that on library?
Green, it feels like you can have a really nice shot at getting away with it at Green if the two center conversations aren't that full, and the sniper's attention is kind of split more towards the side of the venue, like the very far left and the very far right. So even when the sniper comes over you, they're mostly just going to be passing by you and not really paying attention. So you can kind of get away with it there, and that might have been a good spot for it, but it's always a little bit more risky than trying to actively just be on the other side of the venue as Toby and the ambassador. Like right here, if you were over at all the way at blue, right?
Yeah.
Then you'd have a pretty decent shot at getting away with the microfilm, just because of where Toby and Amba are. Although Toby and Amba aren't really in that much danger, so.
Well, that's kind of the interesting part of it, because if you're doing it in Green, you're going to be in the middle where the sniper rotates left to right. But left to right is generally, because you have the statue sets there, if Toby or Amba is in there, it's usually the more watched one. Of course, they have to go back and forth, right? So, it's just an interesting thought, what's the risk reward of doing it in Green?
We could have taken that bug there. We completely off screen.
Yeah. We also attempted a white briefcase. I think didn't work out too well for us.
This is a fingerprintable statue, though.
Do they know?
It's a good question. Yes, we got the fingerprint. In fact, we might not even been seen at the statue.
Yeah,
I didn't see the Joker rotate to see us, and I don't know if the Joker is highlighting for statue inspects, but might be the case. If that is the case, if we completely missed at a fingerprintable statue, that's a huge boon for Martini.
Yeah, not only might have missed it, but maybe Orange gets the credit for it now.
Yeah, exactly.
We're kind of being a little bit risky holding this BB, but maybe we want Queen in. She just went middle, and now the BB is starting to get a little bit worse.
Yeah, Queen does move into conversation just now, so maybe that's when we're going to take it, but you got to take these where you can find them on library. It's a strategic balance, right? You don't want to knock people out early in the game because that just makes it easier for the sniper to track the things that you're doing. But on the same note, Contact is such a good mission that you can't put it off for too long, and if you put it off for too long, there's the risk that you just get bailed on completely. So
yeah, that's the scary thing about it, yeah.
So I like the idea of a bug here. We don't really seem to have much attention, and we go for it. We take the bug, it lands, and I don't know if the Joker saw that.
No, that looked pretty clean. I mean, the path wasn't the cleanest, but we're neutral. We split the BB. I don't think we were suspect for the split at all. We just sat next to a low-lit wheels in a conversation very innocently. And sometimes it's not very intuitive, but bugging by walking through a conversation is doesn't look that bad from the sniper's view a lot of the time as it does from the spy.
Yeah, not to mention that if we were missed at that first statue, we might not have done anything in the sniper's eyes right now. Like, this might be our first like thing that we've done in the sniper's eyes, and all we need is one more fingerprint to finish missions. That said, oh, we're going for a swap actually.
Oh wow, we hit the green though.
Yeah, it's a green
We have
test.
cover for it.
If it was a white test, I think this game's already over though. Is the thing.
Yeah, that happened to be the case, but is this really going to be seen? It's also, let's see who takes it. Bling takes it.
The other twin, both twins at statues. I think this is fine though. We have so much cover. And
Yeah.
there's the swap on screen.
There it is. I think, are they shooting Bling? They see the swap.
I just
Who
don't
was
think
there?
we're really registered.
Who was there? Oh, they know. They know. Oh, very clean spy game though. I do that. That was very solid.
Yeah,
from Martini there.
Yeah, for sure. Martini making a nice spy game happen, maybe helped out by the fact that it didn't seem like a Joker even noticed at the first set of statues, but that can be the advantage of hitting those two green tests on the inspects, right? You just get it done quicker, and you maybe don't get seen. So very nicely done from Martini, and that is gonna set the Joker back. And remember, the Joker only needs the draw, so it's not as dire as it may seem, but to be down in the set where you only need the draw already, that's gonna be a little rough.
Yeah, coming from behind here, kind of trying to catch up, but yeah, library spy win gotta feel good for Martini, that's for sure. That's a good start of a set.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the Joker on the spy side playing as Cowboy on Courtyard. We'll see if the Joker can bring it back in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Going straight to statue. Are we gonna swap this?
They
are angling to see it. Angling to see it.
We swapped it, but like, I think
that was
got
on screen.
Seen. I think that once the statue gets checked again, it's either us dead or it's down to the highlights for statue.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what's happening here.
It's possible. We didn't take the inspect that we were holding either, so we have to go back now. If we get blocked there, it could be a bad thing. We'll see.
Well, we couldn't get both of them anyways. We did have someone in the statue next to us, so maybe didn't.
Yeah. I wanted to one cycle and get out. Yeah. It was on screen, yeah.
Martini just all over that swap. I think it took a little while to realize, but when you do that kind of risky swap, you just have no recourse if the sniper knew what the statue was beforehand, because it's not like some other swaps where you have the chance of like finishing in the next 20 seconds and maybe they just don't check that statue in time. Because it did take a while. It did, from statue swap to the shot, it was 30 seconds, right? So if like you can complete the next 20 seconds without the sniper noticing, that's the kind of scenario where you might get away with a win, even if the swap is kind of brazen and bad. But in this case, it was just a gamble on if you can get that statue in your hands before the sniper even sees it. And Martini's going to go up 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, even because this is a chaos swap, so we're more banking on it not being seen ever, right? Like we're hoping we get there before the sniper gets the count, so to speak.
Yeah.
The problem that the Joker, even with laser lag here, if we can see it from his point of view, he does have time to react to the laser kind of angling behind him and canceling the plan. Because I think that would have been the better play to kind of realize that this laser is going to probably count these statues before we go for the white. But I think it's a very bold play, and it could have worked, and it just didn't.
I think another one of the bigger issues with this play is that you're marking yourself as a big suspect immediately, even if the sniper doesn't get to memorize your statue in time. They might think to themselves, okay, well, I have to credit the swap there. That means I have to watch this flirt really, really closely, and play as if they only need the inspect, flirt, contact. And if you're only doing that for one character, it's very, very doable even while tracking everything else in the venue. Of course, trying to do that for every character does take away from your efficacy on tracking like hardtails, but it can become critical sometimes in these kind of scenarios. And so it can just be easier if you're not a suspect and then you get your flirt done while you're not a suspect, so they don't really have a good trace of you. And then you have that like maybe 50-50 swap, right? Or something like that later in the game that they can't track and say, yeah, this person definitely hasn't done flirt or definitely has done flirt. And it's a little bit more uncertain that way.
Yeah, there's certainly let's say it's an anti-meta of never chaos swapping at the higher levels of SpyParty, in my opinion, because of that. Like the sniper has very high certainty that you haven't flirted yet if you're there alone. And it's going to be really tough to get those kinds of missions done when you're credited a swap.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to get lucky with your ST if you're going to go with that kind of play at a high level, but we'll see if Martini can continue this winning streak, or if the Joker is going to get on the board after Courtyard in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So going for the twin again. Are we going to go to our ST and go for the same play?
Were we twin last game?
We're on library.
I thought we were rocker on library. Am I wrong?
Well, maybe.
Twin was the one who swapped for us. Twin was the one.
Yes. You're right. Twin was the swapper. Okay. Yeah, that's true. We were holding on twin. That's what happened.
Yeah.
We do not go for the swap. Can we get this? Yes, we can. We did not get blocked. That's nice.
Yeah, and I guess we're going in for a fingerprint too. Lots of fingerprints from Martini. Very soft telly style going on here, but we're getting a lot of progress very quickly, which I do. Wow, we go for this bug immediately into the conversation, but it misses.
And the end of red.
Enemy contact. And
wow, we're hitting greens.
The shot just comes off though.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too much.
Some bold spy plays going on here. It's a little bit too much. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. There's some good plays for sure. And on Courtyard, Courtyard being Courtyard, you have to do something extra to kind of get by sometimes. But yeah, this was a lot of things at once.
Yeah, it just feels like doing a bug out of a briefcase, you're already making the sniper pay attention to you based on the fact that you're getting a print. And so that kind of extra attention is just not really helpful for getting away with a bug. Especially you've just gone statues to prints. You're pretty high profile in the sniper's mind, so getting away with a bug in that scenario can be difficult. That's sometimes why you want to go for those hard tells before you get that other suspicion accrued, so you just have a higher chance of getting away with that. But I do like the bold style that Martini is employing so far.
Yeah, there's no lack of courage from Martini's spy so far. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I love to see that.
Yeah, now we are on to Ballroom after what was a relatively quick Courtyard set with two very, very fast shots. And now dejoker, another twin appearance. I think last time was actually, yeah, this is the second twin appearance from Joker, except this time it's plain, not bling.
Correct, yeah.
And we'll see how the Joker gets on in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Are you going for the early cheese flirt here, probably, or are we going to time ad? Seeing where they land.
I wouldn't hate a time ad here, although there's maybe not enough to cover us. There's a lot of like visual noise in the back left of the venue, though, so Sniper might be focusing more on that. And that actually might take vision away from the clock, which is in the upper right as well. Something to consider.
Yeah. That's an interesting point to kind of think of the monitor as the way of everything is on the left side, the clock is on the top right, so therefore the timeout might be a powerful thing. Again, with the aggression, we go middle statues. These spies.
Yeah, we also have the purloin. We have a purloin as well. We're going straight in. I love it, Laserbear. I love it. Okay, so the purloin scene, this is the big, I think, important thing, is what is the reaction to the purloin being seen? Because you knew Twin was just at center statues. If you think, man, Twin was at center statues, he couldn't have done this reject, do you low-light Twin, or do you think, wow, I wasn't really on this, I really want to be suspicious of Twin? Because that's two very different reactions that could change the outcome of this game.
It is, yeah. There's almost like a behavioralism part of it, which is like, if you miss who did this purloin completely, would the spy bail to statues after hitting it, or whiting it even and gulping? Like, what would the spy do after a purloin?
Great contact, though. Look at this.
Yeah, this is a
because great contact, and if you have one more flirt, like, you're just done with missions at like 130. If we had hit 2 green flirts even, that would have been amazing. Because this would be finishing right here at 145, and that's always... Oh, no!
Ooh, got split on by the DA there. That was a rough one.
We took so long to make the decision, and then our white BB took forever. That was a long one, Lazy Bear. And
it was particularly ugly I think because we were also the only one talking during it, so it kind of looked the party was completely still. Everyone's in conversations. You could see it was gonna be a very good BB, so it was more noticeable for the sniper to see that from a middle statue finisher. So
Look at this
yeah,
laser kind of going over our head, and I don't know about the Joker, but a lot of players will get kind of nervous when you have that laser giving you a lot of attention. But our ST joins with the double agent, so we have a good chance to finish. Why are
that
we?
was
No,
completely.
we don't need this briefcase.
We don't. I think we should focus on Flirt BB here as the finisher.
Yeah, I
I
mean
think
technically,
briefcases. Yeah.
yeah, technically we might have. Oh, this is far away though. Oh God. Oh, you can't do far away. You gotta get in range just in case of that white test. Shot comes up onto teal though. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
It's a master plan all along.
I mean, it is pretty hard sometimes to hold a shot when you have when you have a green Perlin that you've missed on any 4 of 8 venue really. I'm trying to figure out if Teal had anything else. If she had like statues.
She was holding her starting drink close to where the Perlin happened. If I
It
see
doesn't seem
this
like
correctly.
she. Oh, you know what? I think she passed. Look at her. She
No, she
passed
did
by the
take
ambassador. She's passed by the ambassador at the end of the
Ah.
game. I think that was a credited bug, and that's why that shot was taken. So
Yeah, that's fair enough.
the Joker may be getting bailed out a little bit there, but it had the makings of a good spy game. A mixture of waiting a little bit too long on that contact and some bad luck meant that our finish was a lot less smooth than it could have been. But even then, the Joker does get the win. So potential to come back here in the set and get that drawing scoreline that the Joker needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting on general here, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and we'll get that going. We'll see if the Joker can win the sniper game this time around in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And we'll also see if Martini continues to go with this plan of Prince, Inspects, and Bug. Some like combination of those 3. I mean, you don't need all of those 3 on 4 of 8 venues. Of course, you can do that if you want to and go for a silent game, but
Yeah, they seem to have a preference towards those missions so far. Bit of a slower paced one. It's kind of nice to change the pace a bit. That's something that I think is underrated to consider when you play a fully complete competitive set, is to change the pacing to like aggressive and idle to kind of throw off the sniper.
so
Make them more prone to shooting or more prone to holding when you need them to.
we've highlit the double agent.
I did notice that.
We also accidentally low light Tex, which isn't going to hurt us. In fact, it's, strictly speaking, it might help us if we never notice. But you know, it's it's not really good. It's just it kind of happens to help us in this case that we didn't accidentally low light the spy and instead accidentally low light in the AI. Of course, the difference is if you realize later on, it's like, wait, why is Tex low lit? That's so strange. Bring him back up. Oh God, what has Tex done while he was low lit? Then that could be a trouble for the Joker. But really, in the meantime, Martini's doing nothing. So playing maybe against the first 2 games worth of type, so to speak, and baiting the Joker into shooting a sieve, waiting for us to leave bookcases. Of course, that was also a thing that we were doing there.
The DA is smudging the print in middle statues there. Bug is pretty decent here, quite honestly.
Especially if it's a wrong arm going through this. Like, we have, like, general Bug is so good. We waited at that for a long time, by the way. And now we are going to those center statues, as we have been seeing from Martini. We did pick up that highlight. So, it's going to make getting something like Bug a lot more difficult in the future. And we only have the 120 left to really get moving here.
Yeah, we've been kind of unlucky with our DA just not going in because everyone's been in conversation for the last 2 minutes except now. So we would have had a very good BB before getting this highlight, which would have been nice, or even the Bug.
Are we going to go for the Bug here? Yeah, there's the Bug. It does take, of course, without a highlight, but General's Walking Bug is formidable. So maybe we weren't seen on that, or we were, and we're just waiting for that contact to shoot. That's the big question for the Joker here. But of course, that might not ever happen. 40 seconds left. We still need a green flirt or 2 more white flirts, and to find that contact with our double agent has been out.
Yeah, we'll put us in a position where we have to green flirt here to finish flirts with 30 seconds left, or do very ugly
We're
quick
going in for
flirts.
microfilm.
Here comes the dump.
Does the Joker notice this dump? Yeah, the
Yes, he
Joker.
does.
I think maybe waiting just in case, waiting for that etiquette, waiting for anything that is like, yes, this is for certain, but we already had that inspect highlight, and of course, after you get that inspect highlight and after you take that book out, it's going to be much more memorable. And the Joker gets back to that drawing scoreline that he needs, and if it's split down from here, the Joker's going to be in through to the bracket stage.
Yeah, my counting as well was Martini 3-0, and then the Joker getting 3 straight games in a row here. So it's certainly on pace now for at least getting a tie if this momentum keeps up for the Joker.
Yeah, absolutely. The Joker now on the spy side of High Rise, playing as the only Smallman. This is, of course, Summer Cup High Rise, which is a choice between 2 different setups, basically. It's 3 of 6 with either swap or microfilm required to be on. Of course, you have your regular choices of missions, insofar as, what do you want? Purloin prints? Do you want inspects? That kind of thing. Do you want bug? Some people will turn off bug, although I disagree with those people.
Same.
But there are of course all those other choices, but one of microfilm or swap must be on, and in this case we do see that the Joker has chosen swap, which I believe has been slightly more popular overall.
Yeah, I was curious what kind of mission would be the favorite, but I feel like the tendencies this Summer Cup so far has been to have swap on. But both of those missions are fairly even, though, and it's fun to see a bit of a mix with the mission selection. That's always fun.
Yeah, it does change how you're going to be playing High Rise pretty significantly. And speaking of changing how you play High Rise, there is inspects off, which is an unusual choice. Usually, you would choose between Purloin and Prince as your mission that you have off, but instead we do have those inspects off, and we'll see how the Joker plays it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting to me, like with inspects off but swap on, we still have to watch that right side pretty carefully for every single person that goes to a statue. Make sure no one's swapping for anyone else, and it just takes that right side of the venue into play even without inspects off, because with 3 or 5 high rise, that's one of the consequences of turning off inspects. We change our minds here and we reverse the highlights for statues.
I think Martini remembered,
yeah.
I think Martini remembered that the inspects were off. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting point that you made, Lazy Bear, is the fact that a lot of people will see inspects as stronger than prints, as a potential for AI to finish it, as a potential for the spy to finish it. It's a little bit less suspicious if you're finishing as a spy, and a little bit more likely that AIs are going to be finishing inspects on high rise than fingerprints. But lowering that mission density around the statue sets so you can have a higher chance of maybe getting away with swap is a valid argument to say, I want to turn this off. I want to make the sniper forget about statues for a little while. I want them to be, have to force themselves a little bit more to think about swap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also, to me, like very interesting to make sure you have more of the space of the venue in play.
Do you think we can bug? Just like walk behind the ambassador, bug, go back to our spot? Okay, never mind. The ambassador moved, but I felt like as small when we had enough cover to do that. Oh, it's a cough from the Joker.
It's a cough.
I think that might have been attempted a split or just some sort of like finger twitch. I've definitely had those before where just like I accidentally right click something like 100% on accident because my finger just like spasms on me. Are we gonna go for this? Surely we go for this bug. Okay, there we go. We do.
We did it at the end. Yeah, we might as well.
I think we might. Oh, but like 92% on the flirt. I think we're about to get shot though. Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, they're lining it up. Yeah.
Just a little bit too suspicious.
That cough hurt us, I think. It was a nice attempt. I've noticed a lot of players, especially if they're a little bit on the newer side, they start that skill check and want that bail, but it's not easy to make sure you hit the green before you start bailing, or walking away, rather. And that's what happens if you misread that skill check.
Yeah, for sure. I've done it on more than one occasion.
Same, yeah,
Like
all the time.
I've done it with like purloins I wanted to walk away from. I'll just crash like suddenly, like oh shit.
Yeah, it happens to all of us.
Yeah. So it's not anything to be ashamed about. It was an interesting choice, but unfortunately, when you see that white test, you really can't bail because it's just gonna hurt you more to bail than it is to stick. Um, but now Martini does have that advantage. See if they can convert it into something here on the spy side. Again, looking for that lead in three, two, one, playing it. And we do have the difference. It's the inspects on and the fingerprints off this time, but otherwise the same setup. We could be going for a bug here on the way through, but I think the Joker had the angle to see that we didn't and catch us if we did.
Yeah, I think it was a smart call to not go for that bug. This is a more of a standard mission setup that we usually see on high rise. Inspects are still in play. We go on the right side here. We don't get the highlight for a statue visit.
I would, I guess, just
Uh,
I again, this might be a thing where we just got missed at statues, or, I mean, at the very least, it was kind of a low key statue visit. Very short. We were, everyone's over on the left side. There wasn't that much traffic in that hallway like there might normally be in time of chaos. Everyone had pretty much settled into conversation, so that was where the bulk of the sniper attention was. So, the sniper might know that we were at those statues, but it's definitely not a big event in their mind, or not something that they saw super clearly.
Yes, decent cover on the right side for that statue visit. And if you
Oh,
think
hi,
about
General.
the Rockers game that Martini had on Library, he also snuck in a statue visit that was unseen by the Joker. So maybe he's trying to kind of exploit that weakness once again on the right side here.
Yeah, and we do get our, our ST kind of just helping us out there. We get a green flirt. We've been seeing a lot of those from Martini, those green flirts. It's really, really nice for your pacing. And if we can get another one here, we can just go into side statues again and just dare the Joker to shoot at like whatever time this is, 120 probably would be if we got the flirt now. But of course, our ST is going in for a briefcase, which does not bode well for us.
Indeed, yeah. Not what you want to see when you need that flirt. Briefcase pickup can take a long time if he decides to go to books or decides to do anything else. Yeah.
Okay, we do have the option to go to the. Oh wow,
Oh, he's really thinking about that shot
that's
on
really
general.
that's interesting because I don't know what would have caused it because of course we just had that briefcase, but prints are off, right?
Yes, indeed, they are. But I've had games where you get used to certain mission setups and you forget sometimes that bug is off or print is off, and you look at the briefcase return that didn't look quite right, and you start to suspect. We go in. We need this flirt here for sure. Now we can get a close white for our next one. 40 seconds left. Can we survive statue visit with beeps here is the question. We're attempting it.
I mean, it depends completely on whether we're seeing in the first place on the first set of statues, right? Because if we weren't, then we're pretty clean on this because there's no reason to think that we're finishing. On the other hand, this is exactly how a spy would act if you did see the first inspect set. Waiting around for an AI to maybe get shot and then going in for statues at the end. But it doesn't look like we're getting shot for this. But there is going to be overtime, just a sliver of it. And we do have the instant talk, so maybe the Joker shoots us in the overtime. But it's going to be so little, you have to shoot immediately as soon as you hear the clock hang.
Yeah, we go for the insta shot, and the OT shot was
Irish,
lined up
yeah.
on someone else. It seems to me. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think that was a good play, and another reason for when you're going for a finish like this, and you notice that maybe another guest in the venue is hated, it's far more likely that it's going to be a hold. We saw a flash on general there for that briefcase, right? So that's usually more prone to surviving if you, as the spy, get the finish.
Yeah, for sure. That is really just critical sometimes to winning a spy game is how suspicious is the rest of the party. You would think it doesn't matter that much, you know, but everything the sniper thinks about is contextual, right? Especially when it comes to overtime. Overtime, you know the spy is completed with missions and you need to take a shot, so It's all about context of where the party's at compared to you. And in this case, Martini just wasn't that big of a suspect. I think the Joker did indeed forget or did not really register that first visit to the statues, and Martini gets away with it.
Again, I might add, because they did that on Library as Rockers as well. Yeah, so seems like the Martinez found like a potential weakness here that they can try to get some spywheels in with.
Yeah, and that does leave Joker in a bit of a perilous spot. Can only allow one more win from Martini, or else their dreams of bracket stage will slip away from them. They still need that draw. Of course, it's not as terrible as it might seem. You think, oh, we've only got 2 venues left, and you're 2 points down. Usually that means you need to win every single game from here on out, but you only need that one venue sweep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Martini was in a 3-0 at one point, and the Joker managed to tie that up completely. So this is going to be hard to call, regardless of the 5-3 scoreline. So
yeah,
let's see how this goes.
All right, the Joker going to be trying to find a spy win here on Modern in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And I think we have this little joke about how Salmon blends into the background of Modern. I think Red Dress does as well, fairly well compared to a lot of characters. I'd say Taft, Red Dress, and Salmon blend in best, but of course Salmon is just in his natural habitat here.
That is true. Yeah, this is the Salmon venue for some players. I know Yerend, when he played me in the SL Championship, doubled Salmon both of the 5 games, and it was difficult. He went for these book dumps, and it wasn't easy to catch using that cover behind there. But Oprah being a good cover for that backdrop, I can kind of see. I think she's a good character overall for certain things like microfilm as well.
Yeah. Oprah does have a very nice bug, and we do have, I think, nice speed, not too like large, which is something that's kind of a downside. Just bigger, higher visibility is never something you want on a spy. That's why a small one can be so strong sometimes. But small one of course has that backlash of, because you're so invisible sometimes, there will be those times where snipers are just gonna hate you because of that. We do take off this contact. It's gonna be a fake actually, and Purloin comes off as well.
We did a double leave delegate. We took a bar, went into combo, and hit our delegate and left with the twin, then faked to kind of exclude twin from that Purloin. But that BB hit like a second before the Purloin did, and I don't think the sniper is completely on it yet. They're putting down the lights here. You can clearly see a reaction.
Yeah, I think, Martini did, like, this is exactly why you're using bar lights, right? You don't even have to memorize that. You just, once you see that Purloin go off, you low light down to just the people you highlight for being at bar. And that is the danger of an early Purloin when you, in these kind of games. Sometimes you just get narrowed down to 5 party goers, and you still need so much more to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's an underrated part of playing Spy as well, is doing missions that can narrow down the party so much that it's going to be a struggle to finish from that point. And Modern Bar, like Purloin, is one of those missions. If you're part of the list, if you notice that click on you when you go to that bar.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, look at this. Credit at the BB, shot for the flirt.
And I think we also got caught on a sip break because we were double zoomed in. There were a couple sip breaks in this game from the Joker, and that's going to set the Joker into a scenario where Martini only needs the one more game to move on into the bracket stage. So the Joker needs to win everything from here on out.
What a good position for Martini to be in here to kind of play through the rest of this set with 3 match points essentially.
Yeah. Of course, it's still not out of the woods yet. Again, if Martini doesn't manage to win one of these 3 games, their own tournament life is over, but they're in a much better spot than the Joker is. So can Martini secure it before we even get to our last venue, or will the Joker hold down the fort in 3, 2, 1, playing it?
Noticing a lot of Morgan picks lately. I don't know about you. There's a lot of people who like Morgan. He's starting to. Well, he's always been sort of meta. Like I remember when the Cane bug before he got hot fixed. It was a very strong bug. It's still very good in my opinion, but it's very much catchable now to a large extent.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, that was a bit of an awkward curve to go for that briefcase. I have to say. Are we gonna? Okay.
We're just acting like we got went to win, which might even be more awkward. Um,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, oh, that was spicy.
oh, we get
We got Lola for it, so it worked. The mid sip pickup.
yeah. Is that
There's some.
actually
There's some.
is that actually a thing they'll do? I thought it was like they'll cancel
No,
the
it's
set.
not.
I was gonna say that doesn't seem quite right. It doesn't seem quite right to me. I don't know about you,
It
Lazy
is
Bear.
not quite right, but the beautiful thing about SpyParty to me is what's right to the opponent is the right thing that you should do. And in this case, it got us a low light because what spy would do that?
Yeah,
Martini, that's the spy who would do
yeah,
that. So,
and that's gonna mean big, something big here for Martini. Pretty much as long as we finish missions here, this is gonna punch that ticket straight into the bracket stage. But wow, this contact. Uh, I mean, I guess we have that full
yeah.
front conversation, which makes it. But it's that conversation isn't even real. And if you're noticing this as the Joker and you realize only one conversation has real, and one of those people is a low light that you took prospectively for an etiquette thing, maybe it's something you bring back up. But it doesn't seem that we're in danger of that right now.
That was a critical moment for the Joker there because that gave us a golden opportunity to essentially reverse our mistake of low-lighting Morgan. We recognized that it was the only real, but we did it maybe a tad too late as Martini already left that conversation. We highlight Smallman and Wheels for the only real that we know of.
Yeah, and that's just gonna make it even harder for the Joker to win this game because now you're thinking, oh, only Smallman and Wheels have real, and so even if you do at some point bring Kane back from being a low light here, you're gonna think, oh, Kane doesn't have real. I can wait a little bit more on these shots. I don't have to be as suspicious. And
Yeah.
so this to me is saying Martini very likely to just clinch this place in the bracket stage already.
And of course, like as casters, it's easy for us to see like a game like this and think, well, it's obvious that we're low lit. But for Martini,
Oh
they
yeah,
just got clicked on when they pick up a briefcase. So for them, they're trying to be careful here. They're trying to space. They're trying to flirt very carefully, and because of that, the pacing might be a bit of an issue here. We have the delegate option. We need that flirt. We maybe need another print to finish.
yeah.
But minute left, it's looking a bit of a concern. We're sending the other real Smallman, so that's very good.
Yeah, I think that's smart from Martini here, and I don't know if this statue is printable, but it just might be. We'll see. If it is, that's really strong play from Martini to pick this up. No, not printable. We're just gonna go for a green swap here.
Just gonna go for the swap.
That's an interesting choice because if you don't
They're
think,
they're, they're shooting.
oh
They're shooting.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
shot onto
well played.
Smallman. It's just a really good delegate target.
It
From
is.
Martini.
Yeah, absolutely. When you BB in a conversation with the real DA, you memorize the people next to you, and you next game, also Smallman, in my opinion, is a good frame target in general. So there's also that, So yeah, good plays by Martino there. Just awareness of using the guest's suspicion against the sniper.
Yeah, and of course, group stages are played out to their conclusion. So all 12 games are always played. This is for tiebreaker purposes. Of course, we already know that in this case, tiebreaker purposes means it doesn't matter because we know the results of all the other games in the group. But they did still play the last two games out, so we'll be looking at that. See if Martini takes a victory lap or if the Joker takes a solemn bite back at Martini here for knocking them out of the tournament. The Joker on the spy side again as Kane. Maybe wants to replicate that success that Martini had. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So it's been really fun spy play to watch so far. So I'm kind of excited here. Of course, Martini in a position here where they got the W, they can calm down. The Joker maybe get some extra games in. The mentality can be a little bit different when the victor of the match itself has been decided.
Yeah, that can change the mentality. Some people, for some people, that's gonna make them play better. Maybe the pressure's off now, which is a little bit ironic because suddenly it doesn't matter anymore. But it is just how it works sometimes. And we do see a contact pretty early from the Joker here, and only one low light, which is pretty decent on Terra. Sometimes you can get those perfect contacts, but when you have this many in for a real contact and enough people that you're only gonna get one low light out of it, it's usually something you take.
Yeah, that's a decent terrace BB. My threshold is usually two lowlights or like an okay spot to take a BB. More than that, I think you're looking at a BB that you generally don't want on a map like Terrace. It was also, we were part of the real BB with a fair amount of guests, which I think matters a lot too. We don't want to be two people with real if we have no option to fake in the future.
Yeah, Smallman coming by us a little bit, but we don't try to go for a reverse drive-by. Smallman just doesn't cover that up very easily. Um, and I imagine we'll be going for that one last flirt, and of course looking for the last mission in the process.
Do you think Smallman Amba is a deliberate pick here on a venue like this? Because I know on Taeyen and on certain venues, Smallman can be a fairly brutal ambassador to guard bugs with, in terms of especially drive-bys. And I feel like if we position ourselves in that top conversation and hope for a good path from the Amba, we can get a solid bug with Smallman as Amba.
Yeah, I mean, Smallman Ambassador, I feel like is a little bit more of an annoyance than a danger. A lot of the time on like venues like Taeyen, he's just so much more dangerous as a guest, and bigger ambassadors are just going to provide more cover for bugs. But it can be really annoying to play with when you are sniping with Smallman Ambassador sometimes, because it's just like, where is Smallman? Ha! Who do I need to guard for bug?
Yeah, it's interesting to me that the main drawback of having Smallman Ambassador is that Smallman cannot be the spy, which is very much a true thing for maps.
So we just
like
take an
Taeyen.
immediate purloin.
We just take it immediately here. I like it.
Do we get seen? Because there's a lot of highlights that are not us in this party right now, and Duke is kind of covering up well on Toby here. And yeah, look at that 10 seconds go down, and Joker does take one of the games that, had he won the previous game, would have made it 5-6 and down to the last game. But unfortunately, it's already dispensed with. And Martini going for a final victory, even if they've already won, playing as Teal in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Also going back to bar, are we also taking the far left position? We are.
Quick. Yeah, look at this. Quick.
Yeah, very quick. Are we cheesing this? No, we opted not to.
Yeah, I think I think cheesing it can work sometimes, but you still don't have enough cover here. And I think that's a good realization from Martini. If there were maybe more people covering the ambassador, maybe one or two more people at statues, that would have been something that you can try to go with a cheese for, because you've got a little bit more attention split. But in this case, despite the fact that we were at bar really early and didn't have a drink that we needed to sip before getting the request in, it just took too long and there wasn't enough attention. Another thing that actually can be really important to cheese delegates at the big, like, chaos delegates, is if Toby is actually close to you. Because if Toby doesn't have to walk to you, it's so much quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Terrace, out of all of the venues, is not a good venue for a cheese delegate. It's not that much that you have to watch. The time that you have to guard the ambassador at Chaos is not that long. Usually the bar is covered pretty well, but it's a play that sometimes works, and we didn't opt for it, which I think was the right choice by Martini. And look at that shot, confident and early.
Confident early, and maybe a little bit of I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, that was a statement shot right there.
Yeah, statement shot right at the end of the set. And a funny way to end, the Joker does take the last two games, making that loss on Modern with that low light a little bit more tragic in the end, but it was still a really, really good set from both players here, a really close set, and Martini does take it.
You said it yourself, Martini really likes Prince, and the Joker just had enough. Saw that briefcase, that's it. That's Martini.
I think it might have also been slightly about the flirt pair, but yeah.
I want to believe that he was just done with the Prince. Dished out some justice.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we do that we do have Martini going in to the bracket stage. Congratulations to Martini.